And,
Uh,
okay, we are live.
okay.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Renew Your Spirit. I'm your moderator, host, whatever you want to call it, Lynn Gaffin.
Good morning.
Good morning. My guest this morning is Kathleen Hoffman, better known to most of us as Reverend Kathleen Hoffman. And Kathleen, it's lovely to have you on today, and thank you so much for being here.
And thank you for having me.
Um, I wanted to get in a little bit about who you are and how you got to be who you are, and as much as we can do in an hour.
Okay.
Maybe if we get run long, we can do it. I'll schedule you for another Saturday.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, your bio that you sent me says that you are a Reiki master, a teacher of magnified healing. I don't know what that is.
Okay. I'm a teacher of Reiki. You have to go through, as most
Okay,
people
yep,
know now,
yep,
that's so I can actually teach it.
yep.
And magnified healing is from Kuan Yin, who's the compassionate goddess.
Hmm.
And I got trained probably most Reiki and magnified healing. I got trained in the 1994 or something around there. And it is a training in how to bring that, you actually bring the
Ah,
light,
okay,
with Reiki you're attuned.
yeah,
And it's an attunement with magnified healing too. And you bring that light in
okay,
for the soul. And there's a process.
yeah. I
And you
understand
have to
that. Yeah,
get, yeah. So it's
I've
similar.
just never heard that expression before.
Really? Oh yeah, you want to, yep, definitely.
Okay,
Just look it
wonderful.
up. In fact, there are teachers. There are teachers out there. The way that I took my life, I probably could be a teacher on it, and I don't even know it because I just
Hmm.
went boom, 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 boom right through everything. Just whatever would help somebody or help me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
you can look it up. Anybody can look it up in line, and there are active teachers out there.
Good. Okay.
Right?
You're into hypnotherapy?
Yes.
Me too. I did that.
Yeah.
Feng Shui.
Through the
Mhm.
National Guild,
Yep.
which is a good organization.
Yep.
I don't know if I can recommend, but they are.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to get your accreditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feng Shui consultant,
Yeah.
Akashic Records reader. Me
Yeah.
too.
Mm-hmm.
I did that.
Yeah.
And a Theta practitioner.
Yes.
Okay. Um, what I wanted to find out is how you got into all this. Were you, as a child growing up, or were you interested in all of this, or where did all this come from?
Well, when you're speaking, it brings me to a scene of at the carnival. When I was a little girl, my mother and father would take us to the carnival, and my brother and I would go off, and my brother would want to see the two-headed lady with the snake, and I'd want to go right to the kiosk that has the glass door with the genie inside with the cards.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I was drawn to that world so strongly when I was a little girl. Really, it was just like that. And then as I was growing up, there were hardships that I had to endure, like most of us in our lives. And I was fortunate to have a very spiritual grandmother. My mother was also, but my grandmother lived with us for a little part of our time, and she was very spiritual. She was Catholic, strong Catholic,
Mhm.
but she had a way of making us, forgiveness is the key, and doing the rosary. And she had such a dedication to infinite, to God, that it instilled something so strong within me, a faith beyond, that we're not alone, and that we can pray and we can change and shift our lives. So she was a catalyst for this. And so I can remember one day in my room, I can remember seeing shadows and thinking, is that Mother Mary? And then I remember one time when I lived in Franklin, Massachusetts, I was up in the kiosk we had a sort of like a Victorian house, and my name was called out. I
Mhm.
heard Kathleen, but there was nobody home.
Mhm.
And so I was always intrigued by this, always intrigued. And I was a very, very sensitive, shy little girl.
Mhm.
And I would wonder why I could pick up everybody's feelings. I was analyzing and looking,
Yeah.
than the day I was born. You can see it in my eyes when I look at my pictures, you know, and so forth. So I have been drawn to the metaphysical and the spiritual aspects of life all my life, you know. And even with my pastorship, my grandmother dropped us off went to Catholic, you know, Sunday service, and it was in Latin. And I can remember sitting there, I was only 10 years old, and I can remember sitting there after the priest did this sermon and everything, and with tears fell to my eyes. And I said, oh, this is just marvelous, this is wonderful. And I can remember I wanted so much to thank him. So I went out and waited they had the iron bars, and the priest would come out in the back, and I stood there, wanted to say, Father, Father, thank you so much. And my grandmother beeped the horn, and I had to leave, you know. So I had a drawing. And to this day, when we watched the inauguration I stood up for the national anthem, and it's always brought such a strong emotional base to me. Anything that that brings and opens your heart for the whole, for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, my path has led me more and more this way. And because of all the hardships that I went through, like all of us, we all have our lessons. Whatever helped me, I learned so that I could help others.
Yeah.
So whatever situation happened to me, I learned to help others, even my career, everything, just everything.
And I noticed that's one thing I wanted to ask you about too, and I think I mentioned it to you the last time I saw you at church. With with what you do in your job, helping others, and as a counselor and victims advocate
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
Does what you feel and what you know about the metaphysical help you with that?
Definitely.
Does it?
Definitely. As we have the type of counseling that we do within our victim services, or we hate to say victim, because but we do say it. We're finding a way to, like with drug and alcoholism and domestic violence and all that, we're finding a different way to put it. So we're survivors. So the survivors that I work with, what our model is empowerment. So what we do not control another being. We just show them how they can take their life back. Because we don't take over, because that's part of what they lost control. So we have a lot of that. So I find, and I have I find that let me just step back here. I never thought, if you would have told me when I first started this work, that my company or our field would allow me to bring in the metaphysical, I just would have never thought it could happen.
Oh,
But I'll tell you what, it has happened. And
really?
yes, because part of what I do is I go into the schools and I teach the kids on self-esteem, conflict resolution, teen dating, violence. And when we do the self-esteem piece, I bring all of what we do about the power of thought. I use the rods,
Ooh.
the dowsing sticks
Yep.
with them.
Yep.
We check their aura. We show them how, if they're feeling good, it goes out and expands, and how we're feeling negative, how that energy goes into us and it can harm us. And we do affirmations. So look at that. And then the new director we have now, I asked if I could bring some of the practices in. I'm doing emotional freedom techniques. I'm doing even, the power of thought. So yes, we are bringing them in. There's a new day.
That's
In our,
fantastic.
and you know that emotional freedom technique is brought into
Yeah.
the army everywhere now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's great. Where I thought, see, never think you're stuck. Never think it's going to not happen, because it happened. You know.
That's fantastic. I love it that they're opening up. The educational system is finally opening up, that you can bring stuff in, because there's so much that isn't in their regular curriculum
Yes.
that they need.
Talk about divine guidance. I happen to be led into these wonderful young teachers' rooms that got it. at the time I got in, they were asking me about feng shui, and they feng shuied their classrooms.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh yeah, and this was in the 90s, or 95, 96. And they, did the body, mind, soul. So a lot of people are awakening to this in the school system. So see, I think we're always led, ask and you shall receive, do your life purpose, everything falls into place.
That's
So I
wonderful.
have to give them credit, that would cross through the paradigms
Yeah.
of the old ways too.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. I love that. It's about time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I work within the court system, because I have a lot of hats, and when I work in the court system, I can use my spiritual energy and practices when I'm in front of the court and with the judge.
Really.
I can send, divine energy asking for the best and highest good, send love and light to all the people I'm in front of, let's say it that way, and send divine energy. And, I really feel it works because I've seen people that maybe would not allow certain things have allowed them. I'm not saying that it's not magic. It's
Right.
it's the thought
Yep.
prayer. Prayer works.
Now, the judge knows you're doing this?
Well, the judge doesn't have to know I'm doing
No,
it.
I know. Yeah. No, I was just wondering if you just did it or if the judge and everybody was aware that you were doing it.
No, no,
Do it
not
again.
that far yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
They don't come in and ask you for it.
people do know in the courthouse that I'm a medium and they do know what I do.
Oh, really?
And they have sought me, yes. Yes. But I would never it's not a disrespect. I have,
No.
you have to, I've always kept my respect and regard for everyone because I know everybody has whatever outcome is. I just ask for the best and highest good.
Yeah.
And I ask for the person that's making these decisions that they're surrounded by their higher guides or whatever, so they
Yeah.
make the right
Yeah.
decisions. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
That's wonderful. I love it that they seek you out.
yeah, yeah.
That's
They
great.
know, they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
people. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Well, through the years, a lot of people say, they were saying, "Oh, nobody understands me," or "Nobody." They will. You just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll find like attracts like.
Hmm.
So the right people will be pulled into you. The other people will go elsewhere. So I haven't had the trouble that maybe other people
Yeah.
have had.
Yeah. That's great. So many of us, and I suppose myself included, in that we forget that we figure it's all us, and that the spirit is there working with us. They just have to add. We just have to give them permission because they won't do it without our permission.
Let it flow,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah.
that's wonderful. Now, how did you find a spiritualist church?
Well, and that's an interesting thing also. I was actually working for this lady. She needed I had two kids at the time, and she needed a helper to stay while she went shopping with the elderly lady she had in her home. So I went there. And then one day we got talking, and I saw there was a news article up on the board, and on her, and she said to me, she says, you live in there? And I said, yes. And she goes, well, have you ever been to the Onset Spiritualist Church? And I said, I don't think so. And she says, well, you might want to look at it. And she says, see that article up there? And I said, yeah. And she goes, see that car? I says, yeah. It's just that car was the very car that I giving this girl a message that it came in that she's not to get in a car with these people at her prom. She was going to the prom, and that car did get into an accident, and she didn't get into that car. So she was the first little. Then I had a friend that we were seeking. We were always seeking the mediums. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
we're looking for so a group of us would do that now and then, and that was back in the day, no cell phone, no nothing.
Yep.
So a friend of ours mentioned the church, and so the group of us started going, and I went to the Onset Church, and so we always would sit in the third row, the four of us, and we were just amazed. And all the four of us, including the girl that brought me there, I'm the only one that stayed. Now one of the girls that brought me there is back into it and everything, but so that was probably in 1985 when I first came, and then really kind of blossomed 88 on. I
Mhm.
was carrying my child that's in spirit now at the time in 88 when, but anyway, so that's how I started there. Um, yeah.
And you just continued on.
Yes, I said when they were giving messages, and they were talking about guides, I said, gosh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Be able to, so I started going. At the time it was pastored by Gladys and Kenneth. For Gladys was still there. Oh, that was the other thing. So I went, this is how it, okay, so my girlfriend told me about Gladys, and Gladys and Kenneth lived parallel to the church. So I made an appointment because Gladys gives readings. So I went up to get a reading by Gladys. And the first thing she said, she says, "You're a healer. Go over there and let them know." So I'm thinking, who's there and where's there, and okay. So now this is the interesting part. At the time, Kenneth was over there, and when I went to church and eventually I kept on going, and all of a sudden he said to me, "You go up and do a healing." I didn't
Mm,
even know
yeah.
what to do. So
Yeah.
I stood up there and I looked at everybody else, and I just followed and kind of peeked my eye now and then. And you know what? That's the old days. They intuitively would pick people. They
Yeah. Yeah.
intuitively knew,
Yeah.
you know. So that's and then one of them asked me to be on the board, and then I went from the board to assistant co-pastor, and then I became pastor of the church. It's been about 20 something years. So
Now, did you get ordained there, or did they ordain?
yes, I got grandfathered in, but I took the American Federation courses,
Mhm.
and I was grandfathered in through the church. Yeah.
And it's always
And
been,
we're independent, so we don't
yeah.
have to, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I did I did my practicum by baptism by fire. You really, I had to come in the back door. Don't want to come through the back door. You want to know what's heading. You want to get your education first. Know what you're headed for, because it's a lot easier that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I tell my students. It's
Yeah.
like we can do mediumship, but if we don't know the mechanics of it and we don't know the ethics of it,
Right.
that's where we can.
Now, how did you learn your mediumship?
Well, I started in the classes with Kenneth Custins, and Peter Walker and Norman Strong were teaching, and then other people came in. And then through the years, all the amazing people, famous people that came from all around the world, the UK, everything. So I would practice in circle with Sharon. Sharon Ferrer was doing it. And then when I came in, I ran a whole nother group. We had up to 25, we had up to 50 people, 25 on one side, 25 over
Oh my
Kenneth
God.
and Gladys's house. Well, see, that's back in the day now. That's when it's, in the 80s, you figure.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
still being,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how it all
Yeah. Now,
went.
how do you feel about where spiritualism is now?
How do I feel where it is now?
Are we growing? Are we standing still? Are we waning? Or where do you think we will be in the future?
I think the I think that if we look back to when it all started in the 17th, 18th century, has it stopped since then?
Right.
I think and feel that the more we mesh in with the new compensate, the
Mhm.
new day, new compensate, the more we bless, and we're coming out, we have to just awaken. Like when The Secret came out, we knew that secret
Yeah.
centuries ago. It's not a
Yeah.
secret. So everybody envelops off of something. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
all books, all spiritual books lead
Hmm.
to one.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that with spiritualism, you can't beat it. You can't take away the amazing things that you just can't. It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that if the churches um, take advantage of education and take advantage of educating the dynamics of everything. Because again, people can be mediums, but there are a lot of ethics. For instance, I was listening to, there's card readers, tarot readers on the YouTube you can
Yep.
go into and everything else like that. Well, one of the other card readers was saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that card reader. She calls people stupid, and she says idiots and things like that." Well, those are ethics.
Yeah.
Those are morals
Yes.
that you will learn through education through your churches. That you don't call somebody
Right. An
certain
idiot.
names,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean. You have to
Yeah.
you have to have um, the moral, and I think you get that in your teachings within your churches. Now, churches can get a bad rap by being church. The word church is really kind of
Yes. Yes.
stifled people. So I think that if we can say, I mean, if the worst case scenario, we become spiritual education centers. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But everybody still feels like when I went to church, I can still go to a Catholic church and feel my heart open.
Yeah.
So I feel that people still need that unification, that they actually went somewhere and they actually opened themselves up for that
Hmm.
amount
Hmm.
of time to let spirit in. So I don't think the service or all of that in what we do, I don't see it dispensating. I don't see it going.
Right. Yeah. Now, are you meeting together at church now, or are you online?
We are online, and in the past we just stopped again. We set it all up. We had you have to follow the protocols. So we can have 10 people upstairs and 5 people downstairs.
Okay.
And we set it up that we would video upstairs, video downstairs, one bathroom downstairs, we have it all covered. When we first opened to the public, we had 15. And then it started to dwindle a little bit because everything went rampant,
Yep.
which
Yep.
is good, that we were cautious. So just recently, because in this area everything rose up again, I said, no, let's cut it off until everybody gets their, till a lot of the shots are out and we
Right.
feel a little bit better.
So are you meeting online? Are you doing
Yeah,
it?
we're
Are
doing
you?
Zoom. We're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
Zoom, and it's at 6:30 in the evening.
Yeah.
And that will give people, if they want to double dip,
Right.
they can do that.
Yeah.
If they can't make the morning shift, they can come to the evening shift. And we've always dabbled in, should we change it? Should we go in the morning? But there's a lot of other churches, the Wigwam and other local churches in the Massachusetts that it would kind of, so we
Hmm.
try to respect. We've always tried to respect other churches
Hmm.
and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now you have your own building, right? Yeah.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yeah, that's a blessing right
It is
there.
a blessing. Thank God we thank Gladys and Kenneth and the many people years ago, because it was such a dynamic learning. It's saying, oh my God, this is awesome. A lot of people gave their money.
That's great.
There are churches, well, look at, we don't ask for much. If we look at a lot of the other religions,
Right.
people are tithing,
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
half their paycheck or whatever, not half, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so we might have to look at that. I don't know. But I don't, I'm not one to, um, donations are great if people can make a donation.
Right.
And we ask for a donation for our classes,
Hmm.
but we still have to keep up with things. So we always appreciate and people that can
Hmm.
help and so forth. If that makes sense.
I noticed some churches are just closing, period. And they say, well,
Really?
they can't keep up with the upkeep. Well, I think my feeling is a church isn't a building, it's the people in it. And if you if you can't meet in the building, come online. I mean, we never had that before, but now we've
Yes,
got it, and it still
yes,
is a venue for people to be together, even
yes.
though they're apart. So why close your church? That drives me crazy.
Well, um, maybe we have to accept those things, and it's just like enticing people to learn the new technology. I mean, my sweet mother at 91 years old, she got the computer, she'd Skype with my brother, you know, and it's like people, and myself too, we can be intimidated by the new technology. And
Hmm.
I can remember in Louise Hayes's book, You Can Heal Your Life, in there
Yep.
she talked about computers, because that's about the time, in 85 or so, she, when I got her book or so. Anyway, so she said, what you resist persists, but learn it. Surrender into it. But there's a lot of things we're going to have to surrender into. If we
Hmm.
don't surrender into it or find somebody else to help us or give up,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
miss out.
Yeah. Because I noticed there was a big church in Rhode Island that closed, and I thought
Well,
that's such a shame.
Ernie and Sue were good friends of mine. And they did a good, I think the way to look at it, if they felt they had to stop, we have to honor
Yeah. Yeah.
that they chose what was good for them. And
Hmm.
whatever's good for them is good for everybody else.
Right. Oh yeah. I
But
understand that.
that church in Rhode Island can expand to any one of us.
Hmm.
See, there again is my lesson, right? Do I?
Yes. Yes. Lessons. Oh yes. Lessons. Yes. We
Yeah.
we get them all the time, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And it's a case of, are we going to learn from this lesson? And which I didn't. I didn't for many years. I kept repeating the same thing over and over again, you
Yeah.
know, until finally, they come up and hit you over the head with a brick
Well, what
and
do
you
they
go, oh,
say? What do they say? Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result
right.
is insanity, right?
Insanity. Yeah. Well, there I
And
was.
we all get insanity. We all. Nobody's exempt. It's the hardest part about this work. We always think somebody's so different than us, or somebody's got it all and much more, and all these things, and we all have to carry this. We all have to carry the light. We all have to carry the gauntlet. It just is what it
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
And the most important thing is, how are we connected to God, infinite? Who do we work for?
Yeah. 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 And why are we there? I mean,
And why are we
it's
here?
not for our glory. It's not to put me up and say, aren't I wonderful?
Not
You've
no.
got to put it for someplace else.
In
Put
the
it on some.
world, in the world, not of the world.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, are you still working with hypnotherapy and the Akashic records?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now, where did you learn the records?
The record's through Christina. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I don't remember her name. I had her come to the church years and years ago. Um, a professional,
Hmm.
Akasha record through the prayer. The gateway is through the prayer, through the Akasha records. So I had her come to the church. God forgive me, I forgot her name. Maybe I can send it to you. So she came to our church at least 3 times, and no, maybe 4. And she actually served the church and everything. She's a lovely soul, and she was trained with one of the most professional people too. So I learned through there. How about yourself?
While you were talking, I was trying to think of who it was that I learned through
You
too.
know? Oh, I know. Isn't that awful? Oh,
I took 2 classes in that, and one was a little different from the other one. But what I did was I took what I liked from each one and made it my own.
yeah.
And yeah, and that's where I'm learning that, where I learned that from. And yeah, and yeah, I've got one now I should be working on. Um, and a theta practitioner. Tell me about that.
Well, years ago, I got a hold of the book. oh, now I can't remember the book. Oh God, Senior Moments.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. You're
it's by
excused.
Vienna Sybil, I think her name is, and she was a woman that was just headed into surgery. She had bone cancer, and she was laying there, and Spirit downloaded all this information, and she didn't need nothing.
Oh,
And she started her work, and it's about deep healing, deep transformation. Theta is a state of mind,
yep,
theta, beta.
yep.
And so when you get into the theta, there's a process. It's a teaching of the process. I would have brought my books, and that way I wouldn't have failed today.
It's all
I could
right.
actually go look up in my upstairs in my bookcase. But anyway, it's a process of how the practitioner works with infinite, goes up through the layers, universal spheres, up into God, and
Yep.
asks. And it's a process of coming down, and it's going through the person's. It's a combination of intuition. You could even call it medical. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
things that go with it,
Mm-hmm.
and it works.
Gonna check up on that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works. It's a
No,
wonderful.
yeah, I know I've worked on going into theta and that, but I haven't really done anything with the healing. It was just kind of a,
Yeah.
yeah, there you are now. What?
Oh no, this is great.
Yeah.
Now my two teachers was Diane Nasser, who owned healing center in the area, but she now is working with Michelle Bromwell, a young lady who's dynamic in the area. She's in the but I was trained through Diane, and then got trained. It's a you keep on training.
Oh,
Train,
absolutely.
train, 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 train. And it's a amazing. You use kinesiology. You use
Mhm.
it's got a combination of many things, and so it's very very transforming. It really is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely going to check up on that. Now, experiences. Have you had any? I mean, I know you mentioned before about hearing your name being called.
Yes.
Have you had? You can talk about that. And have you had any other experiences?
Oh gosh. I'm looking to do some, as I was telling you about early, some YouTube um, messages along with, yes, clear audio, that would be called. I heard my name being called out. I've seen spirit. My grandmother, little did I know, she would had pilgrimages to Italy, and a certain place where Mother Mary would appear, literally appear, in pictures of it and everything.
Hmm.
And in one of her pictures that she took of the place where it appears, had the ectoplasm. And all the years, my poor little grandmother,
Oh,
who invited us all over to watch her pictures about the pilgrim ships she went on. I mean, she was a pilgrim herself. She would have had 13 kids, but it was my mom, and sister, and the three boys. There was five of them. That's five, but they pretty much had to take care of the kids while she pilgrim. She was the real. Anyway, long story short, she would say, "Can you see? There's Jesus. There's Jesus." And now, because of my training, it was a picture of ectoplasm
oh, wow.
that
Oh my God.
appeared, and she saw it.
Oh,
I used to do a whole presentation on it I still have it. And I do a presentation about my grandmother and how she saw it. And if you went there in good faith, you would get it. They had the Polaroid cameras, and
mhm.
they would take pictures, and they would have pictures of Mother Mary ascending. There's a
Oh
whole
my
thing.
gosh.
It's a mirror. It's amazing. So it kind of started there, and then when I went to church, I started developing, and I started working with the table tipping and transfiguration and all of that. But the wonderful things is when, unfortunately, when my son went off, my son turned to pass to the spirit side. He was 27, and after right away, well, first of all, I had signs before he went.
Really?
My brother was in my yard, and he says, "Oh, look at this! There's a beautiful little yellow finch." in his hand, dead, perfect dead. And he says, oh, look at this. And I said, oh, that's not a good sign. Okay. So I was taking a walk. And what do I see on the side of the road? Another dead bird, perfectly formed. Then I was driving, and a bird went right into my car.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So this was the week of my son's passing. And I knew something was up. And I would tell him, I have proof, I've told girlfriend, I said, something's warning me. And I had an intuition that I didn't follow one night after I had talked to him, thank God. And there was some kind of a ambulance out here and everything. And I had a feeling to call him, and I didn't. And because it was in the area where he used to hang out with his friends. I thought, oh my God, I wonder if it's one of his friends or anything. It was the ambulance and fire truck and all that. And then, so you can have signs that things are coming. I know that.
I know, yes.
And as soon as he passed, I had signs from him.
Did you really?
We were setting up the memorial tent. And now I didn't know this, but I knew he liked. I'd take him out back behind my house. I have a little sanctuary, a little pond, herring pond and all that. And I used to take kids down there and they'd catch frogs and all that stuff. So when I was walking, down was a little teeny small little frog. And I knew that was Ben, showing he was okay. Now this is what I didn't know, Lynn, which was amazing. My son, Benjamin, had saved me from his Facebook page. In other words, you have to be invited in because he's a young guy. You don't want to embarrass your mother or whatever else like that.
Yeah.
So I never got to see his Facebook page. And when I told my daughter, she goes, Mom, Ben has that on his Facebook page. He has a frog right there.
Oh my gosh.
Now, some people say, oh, that's just a coincidence.
Oh, there's no such thing. No.
And it just opened my heart. It just, oh my God, Ben. And, he's come to me in dreams. I was doing a healing session. I was in a healing session with somebody and he came to my side. When we're in that living room, only at certain times, my 4-pledge light, it's like all these little lights that come down like a chandelier, they go crazy.
Really?
They go crazy on and off.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's just, and I know he's there.
Yeah.
So it brings solace and peace.
Yes.
And to know that we can talk with our loved ones and that, when I have my days, we have an up and down. But when he passed, there's another thing that God and the angels held me up for a very long time. Because he was, not that all your children, you love all your children, but each child is unique. And we all love Benjamin. Benjamin was our joy.
Yeah.
So I was able to do his eulogy and everything. How could I
Really?
do that? Oh yeah. But there was a message that needed to be said during that eulogy for everybody that was there. God works through us and helps us during those times that we need to stand and help others. So of course, normally I had to go through and I feel like when you blow up a balloon and you let a little air out, it's sort of like that, the grieving process.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. And it'll hit you. It comes in waves and it'll just smack you across the face when you don't.
Yeah, you don't know what hit you. Yeah.
Now, was he into this? Was he into spiritualism?
The funny thing is that the poor kid, so he has this medium for a mother who's got spirit drawings all over the house. And, he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And, you have to be pretty secure in yourself when you're a kid, when you got a mother that's totally different than your norms of society. So I felt bad for him. But when he came in one time, this is what's so interesting. He came in, it was one of Paul Jacobs' students we had come at the church and they did their demonstration. And he came in, he says, my mother, she believes in this, but she doesn't. She just, of all people, she says she knows this. So he knows because of my teachings
Hmm.
and what I stood for, and I opened the door. He said it was easier for him.
Oh, that's great. So he had an idea of what to expect. That's wonderful.
But he was open to it in a different way because we'd always watch those shows that about the afterlife and UFOs and
Yeah.
quantum physics. So he was, but not always to the point. My other two children are.
Are they
Well, my daughter's totally.
really?
Yeah, my other son is kind of a little scared of it, but he went to table tipping and it blew him away. It scared the
Really?
table
Oh,
bounced up right on his lap, and it was an uncle. Yeah, that came in. Yeah, so he was a
that's funny.
little scared,
Oh, that's
but
cute. Yeah.
they accept it. They accept where I'm at. Yeah.
Now, how about your mother? I know I met her one time out at Pine Grove. She's lovely. And your aunt also.
Yes, my
Yeah.
aunt and my who are
Yeah.
now both
Love,
in the
love.
spirit
Yeah.
side, who've come in, who's been great. My mother was brought up by my grandmother. Now with Catholic religion, you don't, this isn't supposed to be good, what we do.
Right.
So my mother stepped over the line. She loved you, as you know, she'd come to camp with me.
Yep.
She loved it. And so did my aunt. My aunt was a little bit more reluctant her, but my mother was totally, totally. And she, before she passed, when she was saying, they're coming, everybody's here.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah, she was getting visits way before she passed. Yeah.
That's wonderful that she was able to accept it
Yes.
and being aware. Yeah.
That's it. And we
Yeah.
prayed together and we did all kinds of things. My mother was a sweet, sweet soul.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet soul. We were so blessed to have her. She was, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And very wise and open to this. And if you're not, I don't know how people make it, you know.
I've often wondered that about people that have tragedies in their life, and that if they don't have this, how do they get through it? You know,
Yeah.
there's we may, it can tear us apart, it can take us down, but we've got some sort of an understanding,
Yes.
and they don't have anything, and that is so sad.
Yes, it is sad. But they can have an awakening just at the last moment.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because they say that, our angels and our guides will help us, will reach out to us. When I learned spirit releasement, that was a whole nother thing that I learned with Dr. Henry Roberg. And when we did spirit releasements, and that was of the belief that maybe there were negative energies that got attached to the person. And when we brought their loved ones, just see, if you can see, imagine somebody reaching out to you from heaven.
Hmm.
And the person that was
Hmm.
attached to this person, and they would reach up, it would be a loved one. It would be, and they would leave,
Yeah.
So education is the key. Learn as much as you can.
Yeah. I
And don't be
agree.
afraid. We're here to learn, and we're here to learn. And one of the biggest things is in forgiveness, and the biggest thing is self-love, and knowing that we're enough. And we live in a world that could really ganger something different than that.
Hmm.
You know.
And I think people the wrong idea about what forgiveness is. They think, I forgive you. Oh, that means everything you did is okay. To me, forgiveness means I'm not going to carry you anymore. I let you go from me. That doesn't mean I want to have anything to do with you, but I'm letting you go.
Yeah.
To me, that's forgiveness
Yeah.
because it goes along with self-love.
And I had the opportunity and the experience, and still do, to look into and study the Course in Miracles, which is the belief that everything and that aligns with Eckhart Tolle, Abraham's teachings, that this world, is we've created a lot of it. So we love to love everything and everyone because we're projecting.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're projecting. And a really good book to read is Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. And
Okay.
I love that. And it takes it, if you have a hard time forgiving somebody, going through this process of forgiving, in the Ho'oponopono, we do this at church, we have
Yeah.
it during church, that really, believe it or not, it shifts the perception. So we're creating our world. When we take full responsibility that we're creating this,
Yeah.
then we take step back, hold no grievances.
Hmm. And that's really liberating too, because then you can't say, you did this to me. As much as we hate to say it, as much as I hate to say it, I
Yeah.
allowed you to do this to me.
And or we're projecting, the situation in front of us is something that we either do in our own lives and don't see it. Like all of
Mhm.
us, we can be kind and loving to our friends and people we just meet.
Yeah,
But maybe at home and the people that we're already with,
yeah,
we show other sides of ourselves, right?
yes.
The idea is to be real at all times. And when we're real at all times, we're in our I am presence, to be as in that divine energy at all times.
Hmm.
And we're not judging others. It's hard. Well, I don't want to say it's hard. It is a work in progress,
Yeah.
and it's an evolution.
And you said something earlier too about how we continue to learn. There is nothing that we have here that we say, okay, I've got it all.
Yeah,
I've got that. No,
yeah,
it's a continual. Everything we do, mediumship, healing, anything we do is continual. And
yes.
we don't have it all. We never will.
Life is eternal, and that's the big key too. You know, um, we're evolving, evolving, and forever.
Yeah.
We're eternal.
Yeah.
So, and my
Yeah.
grandma used to say to me, read, read, read. Now I know why she said that. Read all you can. It's what I don't know that can hurt me. It's not
Hmm.
the old adage, what I don't know won't hurt me. It is what
Yeah.
I don't know that can hurt me.
Hmm.
How many
Now, do you
times?
teach classes online?
Yes. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Every Wednesday night at 7:30, open to the public. The first Wednesdays we have it on manifesting, the skills and the tools for manifesting, and we work as a intenders group, and we help each other to enhance what we want and our desires, and we learn the skills. That's Monday and Wednesday, and then every first Monday and Wednesday of the month. And then we have mediumship the second and the fourth, and we're actually opening up free to those who want to come in and get a reading, because
Oh.
I have my students to practice.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, and we have it on our Facebook page,
Okay.
and it's, you
Yeah.
know, I don't know if you want me to say it, but it's
Yeah.
www.church1.org.
Okay.
And everything's on there. And sometimes the third Wednesday, we have, like, we're going to have it on oils, the essential oils that were used in the Bible. So the woman's going to go over the essential oils.
So you have somebody coming in and teaching these things?
They'll be online to teach. Yep, it's all on Zoom.
Okay.
Yep, so we have development, and we have other things, the intenders,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
two steady mediumship classes to develop into. So anybody's welcome. And those who want to come in for the fourth Wednesday, we're just opening up to the mediums pay, because they get that to train, but anybody that wants a reading gets in
Hmm.
free.
Okay. Now you have a PayPal that
Yeah,
people can
yeah,
donate.
yeah, you go right on the web, we have it on
Yeah.
Facebook page for our Wednesday class and our Sunday services, and on our homepage.
Yeah. Okay.
And you pay through PayPal, make
Yeah.
a donation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we do too. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, what have you been doing with the hypnotherapy, and how did you get interested in that?
Well, I got interested in it because I had it again. Everything that I've become, I had an experience with. So when I had an experience with, oh gosh, I went to a hypnotherapist and I was thrilled, and about the process,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and what I experienced and how I shifted or how I looked at things and past lives and all those things. So I had a very through word of mouth. I
Really?
started in 1994, and I had people come to me left and right, and what I did was I implemented the releasement process, which is a process I learned from Dr. Henry Roberg, in it, and I found that amazingly successful. And now I work with the spirit guides and do that process. I have, like you say, you have your own process of things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And one of the things that I was most successful with is people quitting addictions, quitting smoking, which is
Right.
a real strong one. In
Yeah.
fact, if I can say it, my sweet
Yeah.
neighbor next door, he mows my lawn because he feels I saved his life from
Oh my
smoking.
gosh.
How precious is that?
Oh,
You know? So I was grateful to be an avenue, and
yeah.
that's what we can be for whether you do hypnotherapy or just listen to somebody and
Hmm.
spend some
Hmm.
time with somebody, or even,
Hmm.
being a friend,
Yeah. Yeah.
that in itself, when you think that, I think right now everybody thinks they need to add on. At the time, because people used to say to me, oh, you do all this, you do all this. Well, I did all that because I felt it was great, but it's like you don't have to add a lot of things on you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Who I really like. I like Tony Robbins' philosophy and Dean Graziosi and Mary Morrissey and
Yeah.
all of those
Yeah.
people out there. Mary
Yeah.
Morrissey, I have great, great adoration for, and Bob
Yeah.
Proctor, because they talk about we don't. A lot of people they spend millions. Our youth are spending. Now, I would never advocate from not going and getting yourself educated, but education is a wide variety.
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No,
And
you work with EFT.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah,
That is
yes,
phenomenal.
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
I've had some wonderful experiences with that.
Yes, and you can have a scale. I'm teaching it to my staff this coming Wednesday, um, because of the crises that go on in the people's lives that we serve.
Hmm.
You hear it every day, and sometimes you can take it on.
Yeah.
And so we're going to learn to use the tapping to release so that we can go on to the next person that calls us and not have that open energy.
Yeah. I've told people that come to see me, it's like, I feel it's better than just talking therapy because when you come in with a problem, you can sit and talk about the problem, but when you leave with the problem.
Yeah,
When you come in and tap on it, it's gone.
yeah, yeah. That's what's good about it.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really, yeah.
And I do find my career going into life coaching, and that's what life coaching is
Hmm.
about to some
Hmm.
degree. Being a mentor for change, a mentor for change.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to me and they're not willing to change, I would be good for them, because
It won't work.
I would ask them, if you're willing to work with me, I'll do everything in my power to share
Hmm.
with you the knowledge that I have and help you to transform.
Hmm.
You know?
Well, you have to want to change, otherwise you're wasting my time and your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can't see it and they may not be ready and right at that time. It's
Hmm.
not their fault. We have to be ready to
Oh,
go to
absolutely.
the next
Yeah.
step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, this has been wonderful, Kathleen. I really appreciate it.
You.
I've learned a lot. I've taken notes, and I'm
You.
going to check out a lot of this stuff.
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful. And I
yeah.
appreciate you having me come on. And I think what you're doing is going to be very helpful to folks.
Well,
Because,
I hope so.
yeah, because, it's education is the key in the sense of learning. See how it works,
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
people are doing.
That's wonderful.
Change their
Thank you so much, and thank you for being so open and talking about things that I know a lot of times can be uncomfortable. But
Thank you.
yeah,
Glad
thank,
to have the opportunity.
thank you so much. And I'm definitely going to be checking out that webpage because I'm interested in some of those classes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, yeah,
Great. Please
great.
do.
Yeah,
You can share and come tell
absolutely.
students or come on and take your students on to to learn or practice or even learn with, well, we can work together now,
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
you know,
wonderful.
work together. So I hope to see you when I get down to Pine Grove, whenever that happens.
Yes, yes,
Get that,
yes,
so,
yeah.
yeah,
Whatever this COVID thing will do, whatever it's going to do, and we can kind of get back together, that'd be nice.
yeah, and the good, we can see it so, right? We'll just see it, just vision, you know, do our
Yeah,
best on our hand to see the change that we
that's all
want.
we can do, and I will do my part. Yeah.
And I will do my part, yes. Lynn, it was so nice, thank you so much, and again, I appreciate it, and I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Kathleen, and we will be seeing you along the way.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.